is a Furnish Brothers production.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Talkin' Buds podcast.
The Talkin' Buds podcast.
About the buds, by the buds, for the buds.
This is the Talking Buds podcast. And now, here's your host, Rob and Ryan.
Ryan, this is the first time in 2 weeks that I've been on the show and I'm not battling a cold anymore. I'm feeling 100%. So I would like to start this episode off with a ceremonial took the last couple weeks off. I'm back in the saddle, baby.
I'm right behind you here, buddy. Oh, PBR. Mid-season, bye-week, vacation.
Well, no,
I've
I've
on
changed.
vacation. I'm gonna go on vacation, buddy.
I've changed the name of this episode to Bi-Week Report Cards because last week on last week's episode, I don't know where the hell I was going with that. On last week's episode, I said mid-season report cards. Then on Instagram, I said mid-season report cards, and I had some people being like, it's not mid-season. It's past mid-season. So I was like, all right.
Relax there, buddies.
I know. So I was like, all right.
You know
okay.
what we mean, all right?
Yeah.
Let's not get into this whole I gotta explain, you gotta understand, and you gotta explain, and then you try to explain to me, and I don't care.
Some people were very upset.
It's a mid-season
that I inferred
report
that
card, all
This
right?
is the mid-season.
Yeah, it's a mid-season report card. Let's settle down, everyone. Have a cup of settle down, and let's get to this thing.
Actually, Ryan, we're not going to get to that right away because there's somewhere else that we need to start first. Saturday night, the Maple Leafs, who were all mentally on the bye week already, they were all thinking about going and playing golf or going and laying on the beach or whatever, just decided, you know what? We're going to take the night off. And they lost 6-2 at home to the Chicago Blackhawks in what was one of the ugliest performances of the season. I know we talked last week. We had a big heart-to-heart last week about the ups and downs of the season. So I'm not going to overreact to that. What I do want to point out, though, is Sheldon Keefe's comments after the game. Because, Ryan, there is some truth behind these words, my friend. So after the game, Sheldon Keefe says, quote, I think when you go through these types of things, such as Florida, such as this, it's just a sign of where you are, that you're not where you want to be. Reality checks come. I thought we were an immature team down in Florida. I thought we were an immature team here today. That's how we're approaching these things. We're not performing. We're not playing with any level of discipline or consistency. And that's what happens.
Yeah, and you appreciate his comments because it seems like he has the balls, so to speak, to come out and say what he's actually thinking, whether it's gonna make his team happy or not. Like, simple. From anyone kind of watching this team, I'm not sure everyone has this opinion, but you kind of get like an immaturity factor. Not so much personality-wise, but from just the experience that these core players have in the league. It's not your Ovies, it's not your Crosbys, but he's just speaking facts. Like, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. Well, we came off the Christmas break, and we were like, what just happened? They just went on a roll. We missed it all, and they come back, and they've lost 5 out of the last 6. And in those games, they've given up 6 goals, 4 goals, 8 goals, and, well, the one game they had 2, and then they gave up another 6 goals. Like, that's a lot of goals. And you could find ways to put it on your goaltender or your defensive coverage. But at the end of the day, as Sheldon Keefe sees it, it's just an immature hockey team not being ready to play every single night the way that he wants them to play. And he's going to let them know when they're not playing the way he wants them to.
Well, I find it interesting that he cited those two examples, the Florida game and the Chicago game, and then used the word immature, because I think before the Florida game, it was pretty well known that they got to Florida early and they let the guys kind of take a day off and hang out in Florida, and they weren't ready to play. And then going into Saturday night's game against the Blackhawks, it's like they know they've got their bye week coming up and they're not ready to play. They're ready to all pack it in. And like I said, go to the beach, go play golf. And I think that's why that immature, using that word, stands out so much. To me, at least. It's just like, you guys don't quite get it. And we're going to go through the roster here in a second, and that's where we'll get to the goaltending, which a lot of people are blaming for the Leafs' recent struggles, as you just pointed out. But I tell you what, man, like the time, and you saw Keefe get really animated there during one of the TV timeouts the other night on Saturday and giving it to the guys on the bench. Like, the time for him being Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Good Cop after Babcock is over. Because guess what, Ryan? They're not in a playoff spot right now.
No, they're not.
They are out of the playoff spot. And
the team behind them had games in hand, and they're making good on it right now.
Yep.
They're making good on it, and one minute I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. A couple episodes ago, I was saying they're going to be in the top 3 for sure. It's just so hard to map out where this team is going to end up. And I think a part of that immaturity factor that Keefe's talking about is they go on an absolute tear where they're playing unreal hockey, scoring a bunch of goals. And then when it goes bad, it's not like they're losing close hockey games and playing an unreal defensive effort in these games. Like, they're letting a lot of goals in. And when you let in 8 goals, you can say what you want about your goaltender, but like 8 is 8. That's a lot, and it's more than just your goaltender. Or 6. Anything over 4. Like, you got to be looking at your defensive coverage and your goaltending and your overall team effort and commitment to play in your own zone if you're giving up that many goals. And I think that's what he means by immaturity. Do I blame a bunch of dudes who make a lot of money who work hard during the season for being like kind of checked out before vacation because all they can think about is getting dummied for a week with their buddies? The human side of me is like, you know what? Like, I'd probably be there too. So like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you guys are already on vacation. You should be ready to play. Like, that's just going to happen. But it's
no, but Ryan, the point is like, you guys are like scratching and clawing. Like, you can't just take a night off. Like, the way you started the season, I'm just, you know what? I am having a difficult time speaking to, you know what? I've had like 2 sips of a PBR here, and like, just when you take a couple of weeks off. Anyways.
You're the Maple Leafs right now.
I am. I'm the Maple Leafs right now.
You're the Maple Leafs against the Blackhawks right now, basically. Trying to get your point across here.
Yeah, my head is just not in what I'm doing. You're not paying attention. Ahead. I'm not paying attention.
No.
Basically, you've put yourself in a position because you had a crap start to this season now where you're going to be fighting for a playoff spot and you just cannot take nights off. And the immaturity of it all is that you don't get that. Like, you don't get that you can't just go out and mail it in. You can't. You have to play defense.
Yeah, you got to show up. Like, don't get blown out 6-2. Like, that's like, if they lost a barn burner, like, fine. But it's the fact that like after the first period of that game, like, I was like, this is over. It's over. Yeah, like, am I that stoked to watch the rest of this game? Not really, because I've seen this before. I saw it in Florida. I've seen it all year, and just like I said last episode, this year has just been so up and down. Like, go through their schedule and the games they've played, like there's a bunch of L's in a row. There's a bunch of W's in a row. There's a bunch of L's in a row. Like there's just been no like consistency. And I guess when you're trying to like decipher what Sheldon keeps saying with immaturity, I guess that's what he's kind of getting at from my perspective.
Yep.
Is that a younger core hockey team with a bunch of guys who make a lot of money? Not that kind of factors into what he's thinking, but it's if you want to be a contending team, you got to be consistent night in and night out, and you're not going to win every hockey game, but don't play the Chicago Blackhawks on a Saturday night and get absolutely blown out and not even show up before your bye week. Like that's I don't think the coach is going to take that, and he made that pretty clear.
All right, Ryan, the time is now for mid-season bye week report cards. I want to thank everyone who wrote us on our Instagram with your feedback. We're going to try and read out as many of those comments as we can. But Ryan, we're going to start from the net and work our way out. So let's start with the backup goalie, Michael Hutchinson. I want you to give a letter grade and then just a couple of thoughts. If you want to throw some stats out, throw some stats out. But just letter grade and some thoughts on his performance, why you've given him that letter grade. Michael Hutchinson, go.
Michael Hutchinson, I'll give him a D.
Yeah.
I'm
with you on. I'm also giving Michael Hutchinson a D.
Could you, by the way, we did not talk about these grades before this episode.
No, we haven't talked about it at all. I have no idea what Ryan is giving the Maple Leaf players. He has no idea what grade I'm giving the Maple Leaf players. We're just going in blind.
How to make that clear. So I'm giving Mikey Boy a D. Stats are terrible. Did he get kind of let down at the start of the season with some of the games he was put in the defensive zone coverage? Yes. But at the end of the day, your stats are horrific. You don't give me much confidence in the net. So that's a good old D for me.
I'm also going to give him a D. Couldn't have said it any better myself. I am not confident when he's in the net. I don't think the rest of the team is confident when he's in the net. At the beginning of the season, I'm with you. I felt bad for him, and there has been times where I like Freddie Anderson. I don't think he's had the best defensive support in front of him. However, you got to be better than he's been. The only thing that is preventing me from giving him a D- is he's picked up a couple of wins lately, and he seems like a really good guy. So D for Michael Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Now, Frederik Andersen. Before you give me your letter grade, let's go over his stats a little bit. 22-9-6 record, 2.89 goals against, 909 save percentage. I'll go first on this one. I am going to give Freddie Andersen a B. I think he's been his usual streaky self this season. However, he's been on a solid run here as of late of about, I don't know, Ryan, like 3-4 weeks where he has not been very good. You read out the stats earlier about how many goals they've allowed in the last several games.
Well, I'll throw you another quick stat here. Freddie Andersen's allowed 3+ goals in 10 of his last 13 starts.
So, and for me, these types of lulls will prevent him from being in the Vezina conversation. He's always flirted with being in the Vezina conversation, race, whatever, but these types of lapses will prevent him from being there and eventually winning a Vezina trophy. To me, it just seems mental. Like you can just tell when he's feeling good and he's in a good place mentally. It's all in his body language. I've said this about Freddie so many times. You can really, really tell when he's on and when he's fighting it. It's all over his body language. And lately, it's just like he hasn't been making the saves. Like we just crapped on the team for not showing up on Saturday night against the Blackhawks. Ryan, at least 3 of those goals you're watching and you're like, oh, dude, like come on, man. Like the one through the 5 hole, you're just like Freddie. Like, you got to have that, buddy. So, That's my take on Freddie Anderson.
Yeah, this is a really tough one for me, right? Like, my heart wants to go just an A-, because I get him, I get the streakiness, and one thing he does have this year is he's a lot of wins. And at the end of the day, a goalie wins is like a pitcher winning games in baseball. At the end of the day, can you get the W when I'm on the mound or when I'm in the net? But I'm going to go a B+ on this because I just think his statistics are way out of whack so far this year. And he's given up a lot of goals lately. And I always cut him a break because, like, the guy sees so many shots. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he's in the top in shots against again. He's faced the most shots over the last 4 or 5 years. But I'm going to give him a B+ because it's not so much the amount of goals he's letting in. It's just like those wristers from the dot, the side dots, the hash marks on the outside, like just the clean shots he's been letting in. I'm not a huge fan of. Do I think he'll get it back on track? Yes, but I would have to go B+ on Freddie because I'm not thrilled with the save percentage so far this season. It's a little under average for him.
Some of our Talking Buds listeners, Rob Dick gave Freddie a B. Cool Classy Vibes gave Freddie a B. Pity Ryan Pittman gave Freddie an A-. And another listener who asked to remain anonymous gave Freddie a... Where is this? Hold on, give me a second here. An A. So there you go.
Hey, yeah, see, it's kind of like it's just where do you sit with him, you know? Like that's what can you handle from him? That'd be the only thing that makes your mind up over him.
All right, I want to do the next one as we move in the defense. Tyson Barrie, D-. You stink. You've contributed nothing. At the end of the season, when you're looking for your big contract, you're either going to give the Leafs a good deal or I'm going to put you in my car and drive you to the airport. You've added pretty much no value in my opinion. Like after Babs got fired, he scored a few goals. He's a -5 on the season. 4 goals, 23 assists. I think this guy has been an epic bust. Like literally in all my years watching the Maple Leafs, when they've acquired a new player in the offseason, I can't remember one being as big of a bust. And I'm sure there have been tons, and hit me up with if you disagree. And I'm sure, like I said, I know I'm wrong on this, but right now I can't remember a bigger bust than Tyson Barrie. This guy,
your memory doesn't serve you. Then I don't know if you know a guy named David Clarkson, but I didn't expect. Here's the thing. I didn't expect David Clarkson to come in and be like an offensive contributor. I expected David Clarkson to come in and hit some guys and be like a leader. I did not expect David Clarkson to come in and like be an elite scorer. I expected this guy to come in and be like the point producing offensive defenseman that he's been his whole career. And I don't know what the hell is going on, but he's been a mess from the word go this season. He had, like I said, he had 3-4 games there where he looked okay, but other than that, I think this guy stinks. So he gets a D- from me. Yeah, you got a little biased opinion right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think this guy
I'm teetering on all these. Like I'm teetering between a B- and a C+ for Tyson Barrie for me. I don't think he's as bad as you think he is. I'm not even close to your ballpark of how bad you think he is. If you look at his statistics over his career, he's always been a minus player. It's to be expected. He's not a very good defensive hockey player. Horrible start to the season. Coach didn't help him. Do I think he's a great defenseman? No. Do I like what he does on the power play? Yeah. He's contributed to a pretty good power play this year, overall statistically throughout the league. So I'm gonna go with a C+ for Tyson Barrie. Hasn't been great, but I don't think he's as bad as you think he is.
I think he's garbage. All right, you take the next one. Cody Cece.
I don't even know where to start with this one. Like Cody Cece. Like I don't even know. Can I rate him I for irrelevant? Like
No.
I just
No.
like I don't know. Like, a C minus. Like
Yeah.
I like I don't want to like crap on the guy. Like he's not a minus player. Like he's a +7. Like is he a point producer? No. Has he been as bad as some other guys have been through the past? Has he been a Mike Komisarek? Like, no. Like, I don't think he's been horrible. Would I like to replace him with someone with a little more talent? Yes. But while he's in the lineup, if I thought he's been, like, atrociously awful, like, ruining every game because he's so bad, no. So
He doesn't belong in a top 4 role, Ryan. Like it's that
I
simple.
couldn't
Like,
agree
he plays
more.
his best when he's in the bottom 6. Like I don't know if you listened to Overdrive this week, but yesterday Ray Ferraro was like, I'm begging the analytics community to stop telling me how good Cody Cece's analytics are because he's not a top 4 defenseman, and I couldn't agree more. And
Yeah.
he gets on my nerves less when he is on the third pair and he's not out there against the other team's top line. Now, granted, they've had some injury issues this year, so he's been forced into that role. But yeah, shouldn't be in the top 4.
Like is he like it's like what are you gonna rate these guys like based on like what is like you have to come up with your like when people are giving these grades it's like you gotta treat everybody like differently based off expectations. I don't have expectations for this guy. My expectations for him just to fill a spot on the roster. That's it. Like have I thought he's done a serviceable job like being a fill-in roster guy? Like, yeah. Like, I don't want to dump Oliver and give him an F because he's not a goal scorer. Like, he's just been okay. He's just been there. Like,
I'm not handing out, for the record, I'm not handing out Fs tonight. Like, it's anywhere between an A+ to a D- for me.
Yeah. It's hard to do an F.
So I'm going, I agree with you, Cody Cece, but I'm going C- for Cody Cece. Travis Dermott.
This is a tough one for me, man. This is a tough one because oh boy, you go first. I'm
going B+.
Plus.
There's definitely some shifts I think where he struggled, but I like his physicality this year. I like his bite. Okay, fine, maybe a B. Let's go straight B instead of B+.
This is a tough one for me, man. Like, what is the expectation for this guy? Realistically, what do we want this guy to do for our hockey team? We want him to be a top 4 defenseman, okay?
Yeah, I think the expectation is that he develops into a top 4 defenseman. But as anyone who's watched hockey for a long period of time knows, it takes a long time for defensemen to develop and figure it out.
Yes, it's a little bit different. He's not 19 anymore. I can tell you that right now. Is he an offensive defenseman? No. I could tell you that right now, unless in the future he has a breakout season. But for now, is he an offensive defenseman? No, he's not. I like his physicality. I like his quote-unquote gap control.
Yep.
Which is like the dumbest thing you could gap control. It drives me crazy. But I'm gonna go a C+ for Travis Dermott. I think when he's given a larger
where do you think
role,
he needs to
he
improve?
has. I just don't know what he is. Like, what is he? Like, what kind of hockey player is Travis Dermott? He's a guy who has good edges, can skate pretty good, can lay the body when he has to. He's not an offensive defenseman, even though he kind of like projects as an offensive defenseman, which could develop later. Like Morgan Rielly wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire, and then last year he had like 70 points. So it could turn around, but for now, like I'm kind of past the point of like him developing. Like I'm kind of just ready for him to like take the next step, and maybe that's
it takes
me
a long time though, Ryan. Like,
I know.
Look at Morgan Rielly.
But like I could see. Maybe because he's younger and younger guys give you more hope, but like I could see Rasmus Sandin ahead of him in a year or two on the depth chart for sure.
Well, I think we'll get to Sandin in a minute, but
like that's the
disagree.
comparable I'm throwing out there. Like
I I don't
I
disagree
think
with
Travis
that take.
Dermott sometimes, like, I hate to say this because he's from the town I'm from and he went to the same high school as me, and guys I know or know him. Like, it's like he's a really good hockey player, but sometimes I feel like he's a little bit overrated for what he actually does. So I'm gonna go a C. What did I say? C plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, C plus.
And I'm going with a straight B for Travis Dermott. Justin Holl, you said earlier with my Tyson Berry grade that I voted, like I had a bias vote, and I'm going to be biased with Justin Holl as well. I'm giving Justin Holl a B plus, and I'll tell you why. Because this guy sat in the press box pretty much all year last year, and I think he's been one of their most solid defensemen all season long. I think if the Leafs defense core, like in an ideal world, this guy's in a 5-6 spot on their defense core. And if you have an injury, he can jump up into the 4 spot. I think he's solid. I think he's a good hockey player. I think he still has a learning curve, just like all other young defensemen do. But Justin Holl gets a B plus from me.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like he just elevates to a higher grade because, like, my expectation for Travis Dermott's a lot higher than it is for Justin Holl. So when I'm giving Justin Holl I think I'm going to give him a B, a straight B. I was thought about a B minus there. I thought I was going to switch it, but I give him a straight B because to me, it's based off my expectations. I kind of in the neighborhood where I expect Travis Dermott to step up and kind of be a difference maker, like some other younger defenseman like Cale Makar is doing in Colorado, basically. For Justin Holl, it's like everything he does is like gravy at this point. It's like playing with house money. Like, this is a guy you did not expect at all playing in your top 6 and top 4 with injuries. So I'm going to give him a straight B for just proving that he could be in the lineup above some other dude. Like, getting him, like, he's out of like the Marty Marincin conversation, you know? Like, He's out of that now. He's in the lineup. He's in the top 6. So for the perseverance of last year and just what he's brought to the table this year for what we expected, I'm going to give him a straight B.
I think this next one might surprise some people, Ryan. Martin Marincin.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care what his name is.
Well, I
What's his name
I get
anyways?
chirped all the time for saying Marincin. So
Cares.
Marincin.
How do they know it's right?
I'm gonna go, Ryan. I'm gonna go with a C minus for Martin Marincin, and I'll tell you why. I have admired the way that he has stepped up this year in injuries. The organization clearly values him as a depth defenseman. That's why they re-signed him a couple weeks ago. They've needed him the last few weeks, and he's been okay. But at the end of the day, he's still Marty Marincin, and that's all. He can only give you so much. However, I admire the guy for being a workhorse through this difficult time with injuries. So in the past, I would have given him probably a D, but I'm bumping him up to a C minus.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the D plus area. The guy obviously has like an unreal attitude, like just being called up, called down, criticized by everybody in this fan base at some point. But at the end of the day, I don't really enjoy watching him play hockey. Like, just simple as that.
Well, that's why it's like I thought about, should I give him a C? Because like I'm like I said, I'm giving him props, but I'm like no.
You hit on all the right things for his what he brings to the table, like positively. Like,
Yeah.
you hit everything that needs to be hit. Like, me personally, I've seen him play for a couple of years now in a depth role, in a role where he's been in the top 6. I don't enjoy watching him play hockey. Simple as that. So I'll give him a D plus because the guy just seems to have a good attitude and just willing to fill in no matter what. And he's been dumped on a lot, and I've dumped on him a lot. Everyone in this fan base has dumped on him a lot. So I'm gonna give him a D+ for just filling in a spot. And obviously he's doing something that the management likes because he's still around.
This next one I found really tough because he's been kind of out of sight, out of mind, and I haven't thought about him in quite a while. But Jake Muzzin, he should be back after the bye week. All reports are saying as much.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm gonna go C+ for Jake Muzzin. I like his leadership intangibles. I like the fact that he's one of the only guys on this entire team that will lay a body check. However, when the speed of the game picks up, it really leaves him behind and he can get exposed. And he's got to get that figured out, especially going into playoff time. Actually, you know what? I'm bumping him up to a B- because I think
I'm gonna piggyback you on the B-.
I'm bumping him up to a B- because I just think on a team where like leadership is like I don't necessarily I have issues with the leadership qualities of some of the quote unquote veterans of this team. So I think, like I said, his leadership intangibles are important. So I'm gonna give him a B-.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback your B-. Like, are you always thrilled with the way he plays? No, but to be honest with you, I just flat out like the guy. Like, just like what he brings to the table. I like how he looks intimidating. He actually lays the body. He seems like a guy who is, from all reports, that he's not afraid to step up and be a leader. So I think he's I think he's good for this team. Like, is he Mr. Flashy? No, but I'm gonna give him a B- because I just flat out like the guy, and I know in the play, like he's just, I don't know, it's a B- for me.
This is another tough one because the sample size is so small, but Rasmus Sandin, another one I get chirped for with my
I don't know if I could rate this guy right now, man. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna go with. I thought about this one before we got on today. I thought a lot about the Muzzins and the Sandins and the guys who we haven't seen like consistently. I'm gonna go with B. I really like I think the kid's got so much upside. I totally agree with you in that I think he could pass Dermott on the depth chart as soon as next season. I think he's just more of a naturally talented player than Dermott. However, you still got to get your reps in the NHL to become an elite top 4 defenseman. So just on skill alone, and I'm said it week after week, I'm so impressed with the kid's poise. He's such a mature 19-year-old. So Rasmus Sandin, B for me.
Yeah, I don't know if I could. What am I rating him on? Like, that's what I'm confused about right now.
But I just told you. I gave him. I like his poise. I think he's got lots of upside offensive skill. But obviously, when you give him a letter grade, it's like there's like an asterisk beside it because we have such a small sample size.
Yeah, well, for his like projection, yeah, I think a B is pretty fair for what he's done this season. Probably give him like a C-. Like, C-. Realistically,
oh, that's not gonna be that's not gonna be popular with.
Or like not C-. Like I don't know. That's the thing. I can't rate him over 9 games. Like, what is he? He's 4 assists in 9 games, and he played most of those games at the start of the year. Like,
what do you see when you watch him on the ice, Ryan?
I see a guy who is probably, if he ever kicks it into full gear, will probably be the Maple Leafs' their best offensive defenseman. Like that's what I see from him.
So give him a letter grade. Everyone understands that the grade you're giving him is like I said, there's an asterisk beside it. Like C-.
Well, what is he?
I hope I never end up in your class, buddy. You're a tough marker.
I just don't like what? How do you rate a guy through 9 games? Like, personally, through the 9 games I've seen him play, started this, like he doesn't look that great. Like,
upside.
Are there things I'm seeing from him that I like? Yes. Like, do I think he's unreal with the puck? He slows things down and makes good passes? Yes. But, like, it's just like, I just don't know how to rate him over what I've seen. Like, he just hasn't been, like, he hasn't blown me away in the games, but he's young enough and he's important enough to their future that, like, you kind of see past that and you start looking at, like, the things he does well and how he could help when he develops, because that's what we do with young players when we're excited about them. But if I didn't know who he was and I just watched him and thought he was a part of the everyday team and I watched all the games he's played this season, not that great. Like,
That is not going to be a popular opinion, Ryan.
Whatever.
All right, now, here's one that I know for a fact you and I are going to disagree on. Morgan Riley. Ryan, I think he's clearly been dealing with lingering injuries. I don't think he's been very good at all this year. Like, I think he's been a defensive liability. I think he really misses Ron Hainsey.
That's a good point.
I don't. It's been a disappointing follow-up to what was a career year for him last year. But you're seeing now what the Maple Leafs blue line looks like without him. So we're going to go a B for Morgan Riley. I thought I would end up rating him lower, but like I said, we've got a little sample size here of what this decor, this Riley-less decor would look like, and it's not pretty. So Morgan Riley gets a B for me. I find myself shaking my head a lot when he's on the ice, just wondering, like, what are you doing? And
yeah, it's again with the Sandy thing. It's like, do you rate a guy off how he's played this season, or does how I feel about the player factor in? And I'll go B with you. Like, has the guy been walked a couple times this year? Yes, but he's got 27 points.
He will live on highlight
in
reels.
46 games, where he's had an off year. He's still a plus hockey player. You can still play him in every situation. He's still their fastest player on the ice, in my opinion, when it comes to like a dead straight race. They'd be nothing. Like, okay, get him off the team. See how that exactly what you said. How's the D-core look without that guy? Like, come on. Like, it's just, I don't care. I could see past with this guy. Like, I'm gonna give him a straight B because I just love the guy.
All right. Moving into the forwards now, we're going to start from the bottom and work our way to the top. I want you to go first on this one. Freddie the GOAT.
Freddie the GOAT. Freddie the GOAT. I don't know. What do you have, the D plus? Like, he's Freddie the GOAT.
He's got 6 goals.
He's got 6 goals. I'll give him a C minus.
I was gonna say I'm also going C minus. He's got 6
C
goals.
minus. Again, just not a hockey player I'm thrilled to watch on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Has he scored a couple beauties this year? Yes. Is he just a funny guy to watch play hockey? The GOAT, like, I guess, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get too thrilled over a couple good fourth line shifts from him. He's, at the end of the day, he's just a fourth line hockey player who could be replaced easily, in my opinion.
I am with you on that one, my friend. And now I've got one that I know you're going to have a strong opinion about. Dmytro Timashov.
Like, what do you do? Like, what do you, like...
Guy's a fourth liner. He's okay.
He's like, you know, like, how do you rate this guy?
He's got 4 goals, averages 8.2 minutes of ice per game.
Yeah, like, you just don't see, like, he's just, like, to me, like, a fourth liner, unless he's like unreal, cannot exceed over a B.
Especially in this Sheldon Keefe era. Like, I feel like if Babs was still the coach, we'd have a way stronger opinion about Dmytro Timashov because he'd be on the ice a whole hell of a lot more. But, like, especially now in the Keefe era where the fourth line's minutes have been drastically decreased. Yeah, this is a tough one.
I'm just going to go with a C minus.
Me too.
Like,
Me too. He's fine.
Like, he's like, what do you got to say?
Yeah.
Like,
he's fine.
I don't like his possession numbers. Like, come on. Like,
here's one I've been really looking forward to, Ryan. good guy Pierre Engvall.
Yeah, good guy. Pierre Engvall. Ooh, this is another tough one.
I'm going B. I think he's been really good. They've moved him up
Yeah.
and down the lineup. He can skate. He can play with the guys in the top 6.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to get in there and get in front of the net and mix it up a little bit. Good hands. Good shot. These are the types of guys that when the Leafs are in the salary cap position that they're in, these are the types of guys they're going to need to populate the rest of the roster with. And they need them to play the way good guy Pierre Engvall's been playing.
Yeah, I'll go a B as well. I was trying to find a reason to give him a B minus, but honestly, the guy's he's always making a decent play every time he has the puck. Or he's in position to make a good play. He usually makes a pretty good play.
How many times a night do you look and go, "What are you doing?" I do that. I don't do that with.
Does
Pierre
he
Engvall.
look weird skating? Yes.
Yes,
Is he kind of lanky and awkward? Yes. But the guy can make a good pass when he has to, and he can contribute somewhat offensively. He's moved up and down the lineup. Good guy. I'll give him a B.
I've got Trevor Moore here, but he hasn't played in forever. So do we want to give an NA to Trevor Moore?
Yeah. There's
Some people wrote us with Trevor Moore feedback. I'm how do you the guy hasn't played in forever?
Yeah, I don't know. I forget he's on the team. Last time he played was December 21st, and then before that it was November.
Yeah, I know. He got a concussion. So it's not fair grading him on with the injury troubles that he's had. It's not fair. So we're giving Trevor Moore an NA. Up next we got your guy Ilya Mikheyev.
Oh boy. I'm giving him a B plus.
Yep.
Maybe even an A minus. I like this guy that much. I'm gonna be honest. I'm interested to see what it's like when he comes back from his injury. But I don't think I've ever seen a guy they've signed from the KHL or from Sweden who's been this effective when plugged into the lineup right away. I have nothing but positive things to say about this guy. I think he's a beauty. I think he's a really good hockey player, and I'm gonna give him an A minus because I like him a lot and I'm biased.
Yeah, I'm gonna go B plus on Mikheyev. I think he's fit in really well. Everything you just said, they've plugged him in and he's been effective immediately. And like I said, here's another guy where you're gonna have to populate your roster with guys like Engvall and Mikheyev.
Yeah, I love him. I can just see him with the speed he has, and the guy gets a breakaway once a game at least. I don't remember much about Trevor Moore's season, but I will remember what Ilya Mikheyev's done this season. I've been extremely impressed with the guy. So he's grabbing my first A of the day.
Look at that. I haven't handed out I'm looking back here. I haven't handed out an A yet.
Yeah, that's my A minus, baby.
Jason Spezza.
Jason Spezza.
I'm going with a B for Jason Spezza.
B.
Yeah, I'm going with a B. I like him, man. I think I like him in the role that Keefe has him in that third line center position. I think he fits in perfectly there. I like it's he and Babcock didn't get along since Keefe's come in. He's had it's been in the lineup every single night. I just like him. I think he brings a veteran component to that this team sorely lacks, and he's solid. I like him.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a C plus.
Works hard. He works. I love his effort. He wants to be here. He doesn't take being here for granted. He's not in when Sheldon Keefe is talking about being immature. There's a few guys on this roster who are exempt from that word, and Jason Spezza is one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna go C plus on Jason Spezza. Yeah, I think he's a beauty. I think it's good to have a veteran presence at the bottom of your lineup, especially patrolling the center of the ice most of the time. But I'm not gonna get too fired up about it, so I'm gonna give him a C plus.
Alexander Kerfoot.
Kerfoot. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
This is an interesting one. What am I gonna go for Kerfoot here? This is one of the guys I was kind of like undecided on, to be honest.
I'm going B minus. I think he's.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think he's been
piggyback.
better.
Yeah, I'm gonna be lazy.
I think he's been
and
better
I'm gonna
lately.
Piggyback you.
Yeah, I think he's been better lately. Since they put him on the wing with Tavares, he's moved around the lineup a little bit. But I think he struggled at the beginning of the year to sort of find his place. But I think he's been better lately, and he brings good offensive upside, in my opinion. He's not Nazem Kadri. Like, I think we can all agree that if we had the opportunity to go back and prevent Kyle Dubas from making that trade, we all would have said, don't make that trade. But he did, and Kerfoot's been okay, so that warrants a B minus from me.
Yeah, I'll throw a B. I'll piggyback your B minus and be lazy. I don't mind him when I watch him. Like, is he phenomenal? No. Is he terrible? No. Do I usually see him doing some decent things on the ice? Most of the time. So that's a B minus for me.
All right. I want you to take this one. I've been looking for, there's some guys, when I was looking over the roster before we jumped on tonight, there was a few guys where I was like, I can't wait to get like Ryan's take on some of these guys. And this is one of them. Andreas Janssen.
Andreas Janssen. So, good guy, Andreas Janssen's played 34 games, got 16 points.
I think this guy, can I just chime in here? I think this guy's the most overrated forward. Like, in terms of like how the fan base perceives players, I think this guy's the most overrated forward on the team.
Yeah, I'm struggling between a C and a C plus for him. I feel like he's just like
doesn't do anything.
He's been injured. Like the start of the year on that line with Matthews, he wasn't very good, and then he got injured. He kind of just like disappeared from my mind. So that's why like I can't give him higher than a C plus, because if I just forgot the guy was on the hockey team at one point, that's probably not a good sign. I'm gonna go a straight C.
Yeah,
that's gonna be my final answer. Straight C on Andreas Janssen. Just like, is he atrocious? No, but is he overrated? Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a C as well. I think the guy does have offensive upside and offensive skill. However, he kind of just goes out there and floats around. Like, he's kind of like, he gets a little Connor Brown for me sometimes out there. He just kind of skates up and down his wing.
Well, it's kind of what he's turning into, to be honest with you. Like, Connor Brown had a very good first year in this league.
Yeah.
20 goals. You can have a hot start, but eventually you can just kind of like morph your way from a skill guy to a grinder just by kind of convincing yourself you need to play a more grinder style. And he's just kind of like turning into like kind of irrelevant for me. Like, there's some other guys. Like, do I like Pierre Engvall more than Andreas Janssen right now? I guess. I gotta stop answering my own questions.
Talking Buds listener feedback for Andreas Janssen is a B.
That's a little high.
Kasperi Kapanen.
I'll go a straight B for Kapanen.
Yeah, me too.
Just, I don't know. He's just like an exciting hockey player to watch.
He's their biggest trade chip that they have, in my opinion. If they're going to shore up the blue line by the trade deadline, which I think, like, there's no standing pat. Not to get off topic here, because we still have a few more guys to grade, but there's no standing pat this year at the trade deadline. Like, you've got a lot riding on the season. Your blue line is not good enough. You need to do something, Kyle. And Kasperi Kapanen is the best trade chip that you have. So you got to use it. And like you said, he's even though I don't think, I think Kapanen borders on the kind of like, he's okay, but he looks better than he is.
Yeah, he's got a lot of shine to him with his speed and his like breakaway ability. But I just like how he can play the penalty kill, and he's effective on the penalty kill. His speed is always a factor at some point in the game. I gotta give him a B. I like the guy. Like I don't know. I think he's a good hockey player. Like as simple as that. Like it's just I think he's a very good hockey player, which is exactly why he is your biggest trade asset, because other teams think that too.
Yeah.
So it's a straight B for me.
Zach Hyman.
All right, give him my next A- of the night right here, baby.
Look at this.
I love this guy, man.
Yeah.
Pay the man.
Yeah.
This guy is an absolute animal. This is the only thing that I look back on that Mike Babcock thought that I totally agree with. This guy's a stud. And if I was starting a hockey team and running tryouts and a Zach Hyman showed up to my tryout, this kid would be on my team and the captain in about 5 seconds. I love this guy. It cannot be said enough the impact this guy has on a game. Forechecking, back checking, and look at him this year. He's got 21 points in 30 games. Like he's not exactly a slouch anymore either offensively. Like he's legit, man. Like I like this. This guy's a beauty. Like I think he's a hell of a hockey player, and his impact cannot be unrecognized. Like he's just phenomenal to me.
I am also handing out my first A of the day. I'm giving Zach Hyman an A- for everything you just said. I all the Talkin' Buds listeners know how much I value intangibles. It's something I think this team as a whole sorely lacks, and Zach Hyman has those those leadership, toughness. Like, I'll do whatever. I'll play on a frickin' torn ACL against Boston in the playoffs type intangibles.
Like, honestly, like I'm almost leaning towards a straight A. Like, that's how much I think of this guy this year.
Ryan, do you wear a Zach Hyman jersey under your suit?
Yeah, like I'm starting to get Babcocky about Zach Hyman. Like, I get it now. Like, that's the one thing I get. Like, this guy is one hell of a hockey player. Like, whoa, is he good? Is he fast, tenacious, always on the puck? Like, I love the guy. I'd buy a Hyman jersey right now.
All right, Ryan, I want to go first on this next one. William Nylander. B+. I think William Nylander, honestly, borders on an A- for me, except there are times where the give a bleep is so lacking when he's for certain shifts that I can't give him an A- because he gets a little floaty out there. But I am giving him a B+, and I'll explain to you why. And I'm not a Nylander because Nylander is so like you love him or you hate him, and I'm in the minority because I'm right in the middle. I think you talked earlier about your expectations. People who get upset with William Nylander, your expectations for him are too high. I watched William Nylander the same way I used to watch Phil Kessel. Like, it's like this guy is a one-dimensional hockey player. He's a skilled offensive goal scorer.
Yeah, but Phil was a way better freaking point producer than this guy is.
But he can get there. He showed me this year that he can get there. Last year was just a disaster from the get-go, but he's shown me this year that he can get there. And as the salary cap continues to increase, the better his contract is going to be. So I'm not a Willie hater. I'm not a Willie lover. I'm right in the middle. My expectations for him are what they are, and he's right at them right now. He's producing enough for me. He's not like there are guys on this team who are going to lead them to the promised land, and Nylander is going to help them get to the promised land, but he's not going to lead them to the promised land, and that's my expectation for him, and I think he's been much better this year. Like I said, Sheldon Keefe just blew my mind when he put him with Tavares, and it's worked. So, Willie Nylander, B+ from me.
Oh boy. This is a tough one for me. I'm going to go. Oh man. I'm going to go B plus as well. I actually almost gave him an A minus there, but I'm going to go B plus because there will always just be a little bit left to be desired when it comes to his effort on a nightly basis. And talking about maturity and being consistent, he's definitely a candidate for that. But if you just look at his sheer numbers alone, especially compared to last year, like it's not even close. The guy's scoring goals, like simple as that. Ever since Sheldon Keefe's took over, all he's done is score goals. So it's like how can you really hate on the guy? Like I just another one of those guys. I don't love watching him play hockey. Just not my type of player. But you can't deny the production. He's on a pace to beat his point totals, his goal scoring totals. He's already tied his goal scoring high. So I think just on sheer stats alone, you could almost be an A minus, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna leave him at a B plus because everyone knows how I feel about him.
I can't put him up in the A because of what you just said. Like he leaves too much out there sometimes. Like he just like there's certain times where it's like you are blatantly floating around.
Yeah, and it's just like you could show me the possession numbers and we joke about the zone entries, and it's like, hey, like cool, like that, if you're into that, if that's how you judge a hockey player on being a good hockey player or a great hockey player, fine. I know the game, watch the game for a long time. You know when this guy's just out to lunch, and it just happens too often for me still. But if you're scoring goals, you can afford to be out to lunch. If you're just a goal scorer and if you're producing, then it's okay if you produce and you're out to lunch sometimes. Just if you're out to lunch, make sure you're scoring goals.
I struggled with this next one. I'm interested to get your we got the big three left. And I struggled with this next one. So I'm going to let you go first. John Tavares.
I was going to go a flat B for Johnny T. Yeah, he's been okay. Like, he's been good. He's pretty much at a point a game pace right now. It's a minus player, but plus minus. You can think what you want about it. But I don't know. It's just like my biggest problem with Johnny is kind of in like the Jake Muzzin territory. Like sometimes when the game gets moving a little too quickly, I find him behind. I find him just not being able to take over a hockey game like he used to when he's a little bit younger, which I get. He's not 20 anymore. He's not 22 anymore. But I just think overall, like he's had a little bit of injury problems, but I think overall for what I expect him to do, I'm just going to give him a B, a straight B.
I'm going with a B as well. I put Tavares in the group of people who Keefe was not talking about when he used the immature word. But he's been inconsistent this year. Like he's not. There are nights where he does look slow. There are nights where he does turn the puck over and make some boneheaded like plays, particularly in the offensive zone sometimes where he just blatantly gives the puck back to the other team. But again, he's got those leadership intangibles that I value so much. So I'm going to go B for Johnny. Okay. Here we go. The moment you've all been waiting for, folks. Let's get started. Mitch Marner.
Mitchy Marner.
Marner.
Let's analyze the stats here. He's got 47 points in 38 games. Obviously missed time with injury. Oh, boy.
He's getting an A from me.
A straight A.
A straight A.
Okay.
I think Mitch Marner is the most impactful player on this team. Austin Matthews, we'll talk about Matthews in a second, but Matthews is the best pure goal scorer and skilled superstar, but like you'd see the New Jersey game last week and the 2 goals Matthews had, neither one of those happened without Mitch Marner. I think he's this guy can impact a game night in and night out. So Mitch Marner gets an A. I love watching him play. I just love him.
Yeah, well, he just reeks of like top point producer on your hockey team. Like he can't help but get 2 assists a game when he's on.
Yep.
That's a tough one. Oh yeah, I'll go straight A for him too. Like usually we haven't really like bashed him a whole lot for some reason.
Because I don't think I think he's been pretty good, man. Yeah, but honestly,
he kind of slides out of the rate. Like there are a lot of times this year we've come on here and we've just ripped into Austin Matthews and talked about how we expect so much more out of him. And I feel like sometimes this guy is he flies under the radar a little bit for that. But I find Matthews gets the majority of criticism when this team is not playing well. And I don't know if that's because just the way Marner plays throughout a game that it just impresses you more shift to shift. I've talked about this in the past.
Yes. You hit that. You just hit it right on the head.
It seems like he's doing more.
Yes.
Or he's trying to produce something.
Matthews looks like he's floating around from time to time. Whereas Marner, you're right. Maybe it's just in the way he skates. You never get the sense that Marner is floating around. You always get the sense that he's buzzing around out there trying to do something.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a little unfair sometimes. I feel like he should get a little more criticism. But you got to go straight A. I agree with you. Like it's just the guy's just contagious out there when he's playing well, when he's producing points. Like it's just he can be unstoppable. He's the main guy I would circle on the board if I was an opposing coach. It wouldn't be Matthews, it'd be him. Like let's shut this guy down. And good chances are we're gonna win this hockey game. Like that's why I'll give him a straight A. Is because if I was an opposing coach, I think he'd be the guy I'd be circling, being like, let's shut this guy down.
Austin Matthews, the main event, the last letter grade.
Yeah, I'm gonna go straight A on this too.
This episode. Yeah, me too. I'm also going straight A.
Yeah, you got to go straight A.
He's really come on in the last couple of weeks. Got 34 goals, 23 assists, plus 14. He's the superstar. That's why we're harder on him than we are on Marner. Even though Marner is also a superstar, it's just the stature, man. Like it's just the fact that this guy was a first overall pick. You have higher expectations for him, and when he's on, he's elite. He's elite.
Yeah, I think he's the best 5-on-5 goal scorer in the National Hockey League, which is saying a lot. Like look at Ovi, the guy's been on an absolute tear lately. Pasternak, but like the thing about Boston is like they slowed up the power play, and their power play is so good. He sees so many goals from that. So I think just his 5-on-5 production just impresses me the most. And he's having the start to like there's been times this year where I thought he was terrible at some points. But when you're looking at his stats, he got 34 and 49 in this day in the NHL, and you're over a point a game player, and you've kind of led your team back into the conversation with your goal scoring, your excitement. Like he just has to be a straight A. Like would I love to see him improve more? Obviously. Like it's just there I go again, answering my own questions. Yeah. But it's just you can't look at those stats and be like, oh, B-. Like they're just too good. He's got to go straight A.
Consensus grade from the Talkin' Buds listeners is also a straight A for Austin Matthews.
Yes.
Well, there we go, Ryan. There is our we went through the whole roster.
My brain is just fried after that.
Bi-week report cards.
You know what I liked about that is we did not throw away A's like they were nothing.
No. And we also weren't dicks. Well, I was a little hard on Tyson Barrie.
I feel like if I listen back to this episode, there's probably gonna be one or two where I'm like, I kind of wish I gave him a little more or less. I think overall our grades were pretty decent.
Yeah, I agree with you. So the Maple Leafs are on their bye week. We're heading. You've got your whole weekend planned around the skills competition and the All-Star game.
Oh my goodness.
You're not excited for that?
No, I'm not that stoked. It's one of
Oh.
those things where it's like, at least Marner and Matthews and Freddie are there, but it's one of those things where like I'm not gonna make it my number one priority to make sure I catch the skills competition.
Yeah. What about the 3-on-3 All-Star game?
Yeah, no,
No,
not
for
that
you.
stoked about it. I'm gonna be honest.
And then they are back in action on Monday night in Nashville. So tough challenge right out of the gate, right?
Yeah, well, you got to win. As simple as that. It's pretty easy to see what you got to do here.
We're in the home
You're
stretch here,
behind-
Ryan.
Yeah, you're behind in the wild card. You're behind in your division, so you got to start winning hockey games. Simple as that. Your goaltending's got to
right
be
now,
better. You got to get healthier on the back end. You got to continue scoring goals.
Yep. Right now, they are sitting outside the playoff picture looking in. The Columbus Blue Jackets have passed them. The Leafs at 57 points. The Blue Jackets at 60 points. It's they're only 2 points behind the Panthers, so they can get back into third place in the division with a couple of wins. It's just no more messing around. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, the Panthers are going to beat the Blackhawks tonight, so
There you
that
go.
might turn into 4 points soon.
Great. That's just
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ryan, this has been one of our longer episodes that we've done
Yeah, I'm
in recent
exhausted.
memory. Yeah. I think we should
Tired individual.
I think we should pack it in for the night. Let us know, folks, what you think about our grades. If you think we're idiots, let us know. Hit us up on Instagram if you agree with anything. If you want to carry on the discussion since they don't play again until this coming Monday, please do. We love your feedback. Thank you for all the feedback that you gave ahead of time for this episode. We'll see you guys next week.